video on the full moon, which is January 17th. I'm going to pull up that chart and talk to you about the meaning of that chart. This is a really powerful full moon, so there's a lot to talk about, but I'll try to be as efficient as possible. And so let's just start with this. It's January full moon, January 17th, 2022 at 6:48 p.m. on the East Coast. If you're in a different place than the East Coast of North America, then you will want to readjust for your time zone. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this chart and talk about why this is such a powerful full moon. This one is really one that you can use for some powerful magic if that's something that interests you. And really, I think for me, when I was thinking about this full moon, I thought that's really what the purpose of this full moon is. So before I explain, why I think this full moon is so good for magic, I want to explain what I mean when I use that word magic. So basically, the definition of magic, it's not like the Harry Potter thing. I mean, maybe on some level, if you were really super powerful with magic, you could get to something like that level where you wave a wand and you, have an incantation and then you manifest something. But for most of us, the best way to understand what magic really is the definition. It's changing consciousness at will. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Well, really, it's all about energy, because mind and consciousness, the brain, our whole being is like, it's electrical, it's energetic. So it's about learning to focus, to build up the energy, to focus it. And that energy, that focused energy, is what helps us to manifest. Okay. So when we talk about magic as changing consciousness at will, basically what we're saying is like the whole idea of a wand, that's just a tool. Super powerful magical people, super powerful manifestors don't need a wand. They their mind is their wand in a sense. It's super focused, it's super powerful. And that's the idea of changing consciousness at will, is that you can really focus all of that energy toward manifestation. So, a lot of times you'll hear this idea that consciousness shapes and creates reality, and consciousness can attract. And all of this is true. At the quantum level, consciousness is, in a sense, creating reality. There's a lot of other forces going on because you aren't the only conscious being creating this, but definitely you can learn how to be, in a sense, the most powerful consciousness in the room. You can it is really astounding what people can do when they learn to work with their consciousness to become powerful manifestors. So that, to me, is what this full moon is all about. So I want to go around the zodiac and talk about each of the alignments and planets, and why this all adds up to such a powerful force for magic and changing consciousness. Again, the reason why you need to change your consciousness, and that is what magic is because it's not just about getting focused and building up the energy to manifest. It's also about understanding that whatever you have manifested in your life, a lot of that is based on who you are in the present moment. And I have to be really careful with that, because a lot of people will turn that around and say that that's, in a sense, blaming the victim. But the fact is that if you really, really watch people, you will see that a lot of times there's something in them, or they have signed up for this karma. It's like, I think personally, if you take responsibility, then you have an opportunity to change it. It's not about being a victim. It's about empowering yourself. Okay. Because if you don't take responsibility for signing up for this karma, whatever it happens to be, then you're always going to be a victim of it. And so really the first step is to take responsibility and say, okay, I incarnated, I accepted this karma, whatever it is, before I incarnated. So here it is. Let's let's see what I signed up for. And then there's going to be some lessons. And when you learn the lessons, you can level up. And that's kind of like the way I think about it. So basically, if you understand all of that, then you can look at the alignments in this full moon and you can see that it will help you to transform your consciousness. And once you transform your consciousness, change your consciousness at will, then you will be able to manifest a new reality. Okay. Now it doesn't happen instantaneously, and I'm going to talk about that too. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start talking about the alignments and the planets. And then I'll give you some more understanding of how we manifest out of our consciousness. Okay. And again, that's why you have to change your consciousness at will, is so that your new consciousness will manifest a new reality. So first of all, the full moon is the sun at 27 degrees, 51 minutes Capricorn, opposite the moon at 27 degrees Cancer, 51 minutes. Now, one of the things, really, it's all swirling around Pluto. That's really what it comes down to. And so this full moon has the sun conjunct Pluto and the moon opposite Pluto. So a full moon, any kind of alignment, can help you to create magic and change consciousness at will so that you can manifest a new reality. But this one is especially powerful because of the fact that Pluto is really at the center of it, and Pluto is the planet of transformation. Full moons help you to illuminate something or give birth to something. So a lot of times when we're trying to change our consciousness so that we can change our reality, we need to bring something up, something from the shadow, bring it up and illuminate it. That's what this full moon can do. But it's especially powerful for that because of the fact that the sun is conjunct Pluto. And so the full moon is the full moon is opposite that sun Pluto conjunction. So the moon is the illumination. Okay. Whatever that shadow stuff is that Pluto is bringing to your awareness, the moon is going to illuminate that. It's going to bring the fullness of that. So it's going to bring it out of your shadow into your consciousness so you can see it. Then it's a form of alchemy. You do alchemy, you transform your consciousness, and that is magic. Okay. Once you transform your consciousness, then you can manifest a new reality. So that's why this full moon is so incredibly powerful. Okay. But there are some other things going on here that just like really super intensify this magical full moon. I would say the next thing I'll point to is the fact that Venus is retrograde in Capricorn. So we have 3 planets here. Well, the sun isn't really a planet, but in astrology, we often just call it a planet. We have Venus retrograde, Pluto, and the sun. You can see that sun and Pluto are conjunct at the time of the full moon. But what is really super interesting about this, that really clued me into why the meaning of this full moon, is the fact that Pluto at 26 degrees, 29 minutes is at the exact degree that Venus was at when she stationed retrograde. Okay. So she crossed over and conjoined Pluto on December 11th. Then she went retrograde on December 19th at 26 degrees, 29 minutes of Capricorn, the exact placement of Pluto at the time of this full moon. And then she crossed over Pluto again at Christmas, when we had the third and final Saturn-Uranus square. And I wouldn't be surprised if all of you out there, if you have any kind of karma that's coming up around this, because even people who are having a fairly easy, alignment here, like trines and sextiles, are seeing really challenging stuff coming up with this Venus retrograde. And so, a lot of people you already know what it is. Okay. It's probably already happened, and you know exactly what it is. So this is one of the issues. Now, it may go really deep. A lot of times people only look at the surface and they say, well, this person in my family is acting this way, and blah, 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 blah. And really it's something deeper. It might be something around power. For example, how do you give your power away? And how can you take back your power? Okay. You don't take back your power from the other person so much as you, it's because it's more about something that's in you. In other words, you can't take it from that person. Rather, you recover it within yourself. Okay. So it's really deep. And that's why this full moon is so necessary, to bring that up from the subconscious into the conscious mind so you can see it. If you can really see it honestly, then it can transform you. And changing your consciousness at will is the magic, because then you can manifest a new reality out of that new consciousness. Okay, that's why this is so important. So all three of these, are playing a role. Venus is still playing her role as retrograde planet because of the fact that she's stationed retrograde at 26 degrees of Capricorn, 29 minutes, where Pluto is exactly at the time of this full moon. What's also interesting is that the full moon is exactly opposite Pluto, just 2 hours and 40 minutes before this full moon is exact. And when the moon is exactly opposite Pluto, it's at 26 degrees of 26 degrees, 29 minutes. Pluto is in Capricorn, the moon is in Cancer, but it's at 26 degrees, 29 minutes where Venus went retrograde. Okay, so we know this is all about that Venus issue that came up. And I mean, there's just no other way to look at this, really. So think about what that was for you. And that's the issue. That's where the transformation needs to be. And it is about power. It's about how we give our power away. It's about the archetypes that we are playing out. Archetypes are very karmic. So it may be that you take on a child role, you let other people take care of you, or codependent, or rescuer, or a victim, or maybe you play the persecutor, or maybe you play the prostitute. That's an actual archetype. All it means is that you, in a sense, you give up your authenticity for material wealth. So there are many, many archetypes that could be at play here. And so if you understand what these power plays are and what these archetypes are, then you'll understand how you're giving your power away. So this is really bringing up stuff from the shadow, from the subconscious, to illuminate it so that we can change our consciousness and manifest a new reality. So I might have time to talk about some other ritual things that you can do to help with this, to help magnify your understanding of what's unfolding. If I have time, I'll do it in this video. If not, I'll do it in another video. All right, so I've talked about the 3 planets in Capricorn and the placement of the moon and the meaning of that. And with the moon being in Cancer, it is very likely that this is a family issue that's come up, family dynamics. Now, it could be other things, because it's also going to be around money and wealth. Okay, so anyway, it's relationships, it's money, it's wealth, it's family. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And I don't want to get so specific that maybe your issue, that you know what it is because it came up at this time. You know exactly what it is. And if I'm too specific, then you'll be like, well, maybe that's not it because she didn't list that. If you know what it is, believe me, you know what it is. You don't need me to tell you, So that's the issue that's going to be really coming to the fore at the time of this full moon. Okay, the other thing that's interesting is we have Uranus trine Venus, and Uranus is stationing to go direct. Whenever a planet, like especially an outer planet, but even an inner planet, whenever they change sign, whenever they change direction, you're going to see a shift in the energy. Okay. And so that can be really helpful to stirring stuff up. So I think that with Uranus changing direction at the time of this full moon, that will also help with illuminating, because Uranus can bring insight, okay, like a light bulb going off. So the combination of Uranus stationing direct and the full moon is really, really going to be powerful for illuminating something. The other thing I'll mention is Jupiter went into Pisces recently. So the energy with Jupiter is changing dramatically. It's very different from the energy of Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter in Pisces, I think in some sense flows better because Jupiter is in its domicile. And so the energy is just happier there. But also the Pisces energy, Pisces normally rules the 12th house of things hidden, including the shadow and the subconscious. So, I mean, there are just messages all over this chart that are saying something is going to be illuminated. Something from your subconscious can come up to your conscious mind. And if you're paying attention, you can work with that and you can change your consciousness at will. And that's magic. And that's how you manifest a new reality, is by changing your consciousness. Okay, so there are a couple other things that I want to mention that I think are super important to this chart. The other one is the fact that the North Node is getting ready to move into Taurus. And so this is the last full moon with the North Node in Gemini. And then very quickly after this full moon, the North Node moves into Taurus. So just like the shift of the energy of Jupiter into Pisces, the energy of the North Node moving into Taurus are definitely going to take us in new directions in our lives. Okay. This is almost like this is the final lesson. And if you can achieve this lesson, and I talked about this in previous videos too. So, you know, I don't know how far back I went, but if you're wanting like more information about this, definitely go back and look at my Venus retrograde video, Capricorn new moon video, any of those videos that I've made recently, because I'm talking about this energy in Capricorn and how important it is. And so you can get a deeper understanding of all the pieces of this puzzle. Now, the last one I want to mention is the Mercury. Mercury has just stationed retrograde. Okay. Mercury is the mind, the thoughts, and it going retrograde is going to take us deeper into our thoughts. So virtually everything about this chart is taking us down into our shadow, into the depths of our subconscious, in order to bring something up into our conscious mind, to illuminate it. And it's trying to help us do that because it wants to help us transform. It wants to help us do alchemy, to transform our lead, which is the woundedness that in the subconscious and the shadow, the things we've repressed, the woundedness that we've repressed that we don't want to look at. We've got to pull that up and look at it and see how we give our power away. And then we can transform and create a new reality. So virtually everything about this chart, that's what it's saying. We're still going to have a little bit longer. By the time we get to February 4th, everything will be direct. And then we'll have Mars, Venus, Mercury, and the moon all crossing over Pluto before the next new moon in Aquarius. So that, well, actually, I take that back. The new moon will come before all of them cross over, but I think Mercury is going to cross over, the moon's going to cross over. We'll get that new moon in Aquarius, and then we still have Venus and Mars that will be conjunct in Capricorn, and then we'll also cross over Pluto. So that's like the final lessons. We're really starting to integrate the information that we've learned and to be able to change who we are at a very deep level so that we can begin to manifest a new reality. So I think I'll go ahead and stop there. I do want to talk more about how to do magic rituals and how powerful they are, and how we can really tap into the subconscious so you can like get the full impact of the message in this full moon so that you can do the transformational work. If you've really been longing to change your life, if you felt stuck, if you felt like a victim, if you have felt like you're in some really unhealthy, toxic relationship dynamics or situations, and you just have not been able to figure out how to transform them or break free from them, this full moon can help you do that. So I definitely want to be talking more about some of the actual things you can do to tap into your subconscious, and basically how to do magic, how to do rituals, so that you can do those things with the full moon. All right, so that's it for today, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.